Welcome everybody to podcast 102 of the Steel Toe University podcast. Today we are talking about something that I think about all the time, which is food. If you know me, I love to eat, but I love to make good choices that fuel my body. So Phil and I decided today to talk about food because contractors a lot of times go through life so busy that they put very little focus on food. They just eat because they know they have to eat to survive, but they're not always making the best choices and end up down the road overweight, unhappy, just completely unhealthy, and a lot of times die young because of the choices they made growing or as they grew their businesses. That weren't the best. So today we will talk about food to try to change that narrative and your idea of what it means to be healthy as a contractor.
Wow, great introduction, Callie. Thank you for that. Food has played a major role in my business and in my development over the course of years. In the early years, let's say the first decade of being in business, all I did was work, and I paid very little attention to what I ate. And as a result, I felt unhealthy most of the time. In a lot of these stories, I can look back on with a ton of humor because at one point I had all the fast food menus memorized. I could play a game with people like, name a fast food place and give me a number. And they'd be like, Taco Bell, number 6. I'm like, oh, that's 2 chalupas and the choice of a hard or a soft taco. But make sure to ask for 9 hot sauces, because if you ask for a lot of hot sauce, they give you like 3. But if you ask for 9, they give you 9. So you got to be very careful on how you order your junk food. But I was really into my junk food. I mean, gas station food, loved it. Big Macs, I'm a huge fan of. They were delicious. So of course, one of the things that prompted change in me was aging, getting older, feeling more tired, a gut. That doesn't help to have to look at that every day. And the doctor saying, watching over a course of several years, your cholesterol get higher and higher and higher. And looking, it's like, I'm not really fat. And look, by the way, we're not here to be like insanely politically correct. I don't know if fat's a bad word anymore or not, but fat means fat. I mean, it's as a result of poor choices. I recognize there are other medical and health conditions that cause people or can contribute to people being overweight. But for the purpose of this conversation, let's limit it to our really bad choices that make us fat. And that's what happened to me. And I was, when the doctor told me that I should go on, I think the drug was it Lipitor? I think it was Lipitor for high cholesterol. And at the time, I'm in my mid 30s. I'm like, dude, this is not how I want to live my life. So I began making some choices, and I remember that it was horrible in the beginning. Like I can be a very all or nothing person. Like, okay, not only am I going to stop eating everything that I love and start eating nothing but vegetables, but I'm going to train for a marathon at the same time because I want to be a champion. I want all of it. And one thing that I have now come to fully embrace is the lifestyle of living healthy. And the lifestyle of health is about baby steps, making small incremental changes that get better and better, improve, trade out French fries for whole almonds, but you don't have to go all in unless your doctor said, you have clogged arteries and you either go all in or in 3 weeks you're going to be on an operating table. Then you may need to go all in. But it was making small choices and then understanding why was this important to me. Callie, I can imagine that you have reasons why you choose to eat the way you do. What are some of those reasons?
So I'm very competitive by nature. So when I go to the gym almost every day. So when I go to the gym and I have a bad workout, I can usually relate that back to what I've eaten the day before or the couple days before. So that's one reason that I like to make healthy choices, because like I said in the intro, I really work on fueling my body. Not that I'm some elite athlete by any stretch of the imagination, but I do like to push myself. I like to, we log our workouts where I go. So I like to do better when we repeat a workout than I did last time. So I'm constantly trying to push myself to do that. And then of course I have kids. So just for them, I need to be, you know, when I get up super early in the morning, I need to be able to last the whole day with enough energy to do what I need to do at the gym, working and raising them, and just, you know, being just a normal person. So it's the combination of, you know, for my competitive side, and then also the practical side of like, I do have to a lot of tasks that I have to get done every day. And if I'm not fueling my body right, those tasks aren't going to be done as high of quality or efficiently.
Okay. Yeah. Very good. Very good reasons. I can see that. And as you're talking, I'm kind of thinking about this fun little game maybe we could play here, because I am in conversations with people. Sometimes I'm made more aware of the knowledge that's missing. I don't think that there's any real discussions through middle school and high school where they really talk about anything other than the government food pyramid, which I will say is garbage. And I would love somebody that would want to comment. If you know, I'd be happy to be very open to changing my mind on that. So if you want to have a conversation, we can. But let me do this. Let me throw out a couple of foods, a couple of things, and you just on your gut react. This isn't a test. There's not a right or wrong answer, but we'll say healthy or not. And you can do it back to me. You say healthy or not healthy.
Oh, you have me scared now.
White milk.
Not healthy.
Okay. Diet soda.
Not healthy. Should I be slower so they can answer?
Okay.
Okay.
So they can answer.
They can think and then I'll answer.
Yes. Okay. 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 You have been working all day out in the heat and your body is depleted and you've been sweating a lot. Gatorade.
Not healthy.
Why?
You want me to answer it? Like give my answer? Like my real answer? Like
yeah. The real one.
It's full of chemicals. I mean, it's just terrible for you.
Totally. I get you. I get that one. That one's come up. I actually had a conversation with someone about Gatorade, and it turned into, and look, call me what you want. Say, you know, when we start talking about dyes and going down the road, that's, you know, that stuff is real. Green dye, red dye, yellow dye, number 5, blue dye, it jacks with your DNA. It screws up little kids' brains, even adult brains.
Speaking of dyes, if you want to argue with me about dyes, you can come and babysit my son. He's 10 years old, and I will give him red dye right before you come, and he will turn into a raging maniac, and then you can tell me that dyes don't affect you.
I hear you. Red, yes. Yeah. In fact, the way you said that, out of all the dyes, like when we're at a birthday party and you know they're getting dyes, like I will at least go for like green dye before red.
Anything but red.
Anything but red. Oh, red's evil. Evil.
Yeah, my parents took the kids to the cabin one weekend, and on the way home they stopped at like Culver's or something and let them get fruit punch.
Oh.
They didn't tell me about it, and the next day I called them and I said, "What did you let him have?" Because he is like, he goes crazy. He is insane. He's a completely different child. But yeah, that's my opinion on red dye.
I get that. So hummus.
Healthy? I
Why?
don't
I'm not holding. I'm not holding an answer code. Um, avocados,
Healthy.
almonds,
Healthy.
covered in milk chocolate or dark chocolate.
I would say that would be a good dessert choice if you were having a sweet craving. Better than a piece of cake.
So I should call them and get them to pay us some sponsorship money. Skinny dipped almonds. Those are really good. They cover them in, they have a bunch of different flavors. One is espresso covered and one is dark cocoa. Dark chocolate, not entirely unhealthy. When you have a sweet craving, dark chocolate doesn't have a lot of the milk in it. So it's not as processed. It's more pure. The higher the percentage, the more purity it has. So what I found, and maybe you'll agree or disagree, is all or nothing behavior is not going to suit you well for making a lifestyle choice, because I still like to cheat. And I think, I mean, what do you think? What's your opinion on cheat meals? And what does a cheat meal look like?
Yeah. So I'm the kind of personality where if you tell me I can't have something, that is the only thing I want. So even if I don't like it, like if you tell me you can't have, I don't know, whatever, watermelon, I'm
Lucky
only gonna
charms.
want watermelon. Like, so what I do with and it's a bit extreme for most people, is I track all my food. So every day I start with a goal of this many carbs, this many fat, this many protein. In the idea of it, it doesn't matter how you get those numbers as long as you hit those numbers. Now that's more of like for the athletic side, but it also helps maintain weight and health if you make good choices to hit those numbers. So if I'm going to do a cheat meal, most of the time it fits those numbers. But if I'm really going to do like a cheat meal, like, if we weren't in coronavirus, if we were going to go to the state fair, like I know how to have a cheat meal. Like I can cheat if we're going to cheat. Like my friend, she's like, oh, I'm going to cheat and I'm going to eat this little Peasley little cookie. I'm like, if we're cheating, like let's eat the whole bag. So that's not very healthy, but
Cupcakes.
yeah, like, so, I definitely don't like the all or nothing mindset, because I find that you're all in for say 3 weeks and then you have a cheat day or a cheat meal. But for a lot of people, I feel like that tends to be like the next day and the next day and the next day. And all of a sudden you're like 4 weeks later and you're still cheating, but you just never go back. So like, I think that if you can work healthy choices in that feel good, like it might not be the best health wise, but it kind of fills that craving of like, I want something sweet, or, if you can just have a piece of cake and walk away, that's great. But I don't like the all or nothing. Like there has to be flexibility and give. And I also, if I am going to like make a cheat decision, I always start like, I am not going to beat myself up over this decision. Like I think about it, like, okay, I'm going to have this piece of birthday cake. And tomorrow when I wake up, I'm not going to be like, oh, I wish I didn't have that cake. Like I'm consciously making this decision. It's not an impulse. I can't control myself. I thought out, I'm going to have this piece of cake or this whatever, because I feel like it's okay. It's not like I'm going to eat the whole cake and then wake up regretting it.
No, I understand that. Yeah, as your body becomes first of all, exercise is addictive. Eating healthy is addictive. And when you combine the two and you realize it doesn't take long to see, maybe 30, maybe 60 days or so, where you can begin to make a connection between literally a piece of cake and your workout. You ate that piece of cake. That doesn't, and I've always told myself, I've never had my last anything. I still love Big Macs. Now, I probably haven't had one in 18 months, but I figure at some point in the future, I will eat one. Well, maybe those I'll actually give up. But but I don't want to, I never wanted to have the thought that I can never, ever do this again. I still like to drink Coke. So once in a while, I have a Coke. 99% of the time, I drink water. Maybe unsweetened tea once in a while. But for the most part, it's going to be water. These are small little choices. Take the cream and sugar out of the coffee. Stop, instead of having a whole pot of coffee, I have 1 cup of coffee that's black. It doesn't taste good in the beginning, but you get used to it pretty quickly. So that is the power in all this. Here's what I don't want to see. Here's what this whole episode is about. Is I've seen so many contractors drop dead in their 40s and 50s because, number one, we already carry a little bit more stress than the average person, maybe a lot more stress than the average person. Combine that with an unhealthy diet of clogged arteries, and you're a stroke or heart attack waiting to happen. And it doesn't have to be like that. I think our country, quite possibly more than many, many other countries, is living on so much processed food. And this goes into a whole nother sidebar conversation, which we don't have to go down the rabbit hole of stuff. Then there's the almost epidemic of diabetes. And then you go down a path where you can't, when you're younger and you catch this, you can at least turn your body once and has the ability to turn itself around up until a point where it can't. And then if you get heavier, you have breathing problems, sleeping problems. If you don't get enough sleep, you're not as efficient the next day. Your business depends on you being in peak physical condition. Your life depends on it. Your kids depend on it. It's not just a saying that your health is the most important thing. It really is the most important thing. It's the one thing that you will take for granted until it is taken away and something severe happens. But you mentioned,
when you're talking about like your kids and everything, they're watching. So even if you don't care about yourself, which I do not believe that anybody truly does not care about themselves. I think we care about ourselves a lot. But if you take yourself out of the equation, do you want your kids are learning what you're doing. So they're typically going to mimic you. Do you want your kids to be your age? So if you're 40 years old, when your kids are 40, do you want them to be in the same position you are? Or do you want to teach them better eating habits, better life skills? So I find that they're mimicking, which can also, this is kind of a sidebar, but female children and moms, they're watching the way their moms treat their bodies so much. So if you're a mom or a female head of another little girl, she's watching what you're doing. So I was always very upfront with my daughter about telling her why I was doing what I was doing. Like, I'm doing this to be better, and it kind of explaining. So even just explaining to kids why you're doing what you're doing can set a foundation for their future to make good choices, so that they're not 40 and wondering, how did I get here?
You're so right about the modeling of the behavior. If you don't keep these foods these junk foods in your house, they're going to be raised in a home where they don't know what it's like to have soft drinks in the refrigerator and, see empty beer cans and Oreo cookies and Pringles and sugar-loaded cereals. Start switching things out for for oatmeal and oat milk or almond milk. And before you say, ooh, that's gross, it's a different the first time. You get used to it. Now I love almond milk. I like oat milk. I mean, they're good. You just get used to it. It's just a change, and you start making water more available. When my kids come home from school, they come home hungry. And if I don't actively engage with that and offer them healthy snacks, they're going to go. And I'm telling you, this is a house with as close to zero junk as you can imagine. But whatever the junkiest thing is that you have, they will go after it. It could be apple cinnamon applesauce, and that's, processed. I mean, clearly not junky, but if it has a little bit of something that will satisfy their sweet tooth, they'll get it. And forget if you've hidden Halloween candy, they're going to find it. Well, sometimes I find it first, but it's a lifestyle. So in addition to this lifestyle of eating healthy, that's when you build in an exercise program. And before you say, I don't have time to exercise, you do have time. Make the time. And that's when you find time to go to the chiropractor. And that's when you find time to stretch and to meditate. It's not one thing that is going to make or break you. It's a combination of lifestyle choices. But I want to circle back real quick before we wrap up on something that you mentioned about protein, carbs, and fats. Not all, it's my understanding, not all carbs and fats are created equal. Can you tell me the difference of good fats versus bad? Like, what do you eat for fats? What does that include?
For me personally, I add butter to stuff, and then just whatever is naturally in, like eggs or meat, like a hamburger or a steak or whatever, or coconut oil is what I do. Definitely not margarine or anything fake. I don't know a lot about like the omegas. I know some of them go rancid, like super fast, like vegetable oil.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. I don't know the science behind it. I just know what research I've done has told me is good and bad, and that's what I go with. Carbs, so all fat has 9 grams of 9 calories. Carbs and protein, I think, is 4 each. So that's how your body, how much energy it takes your body to process each of those. So in general, a carb, so I'm not an expert on this. I will fully admit this. I am just kind of like repeating what I've learned. So it could be not 100% correct. But carbs, your body takes 4 calories takes 4 amounts of energy to process each carb that you have. So there's healthy carbs, which are just naturally healthy food. And then there's unhealthy carbs like sugar and not like fake stuff that is just not healthy. Is that what you mean?
Yes, you touched right on it. Like the difference between a white potato and a sweet potato, or pasta versus brown rice. That's where I'm going with that. And because, I mean, it's a learning process. I'm not trying to sit here and sound Norris Cali, trying to sound smarter, but it's just a learning process. I want people to be educated to know pasta is not healthy. And when you have those simple carbohydrates versus complex, so simple carbohydrates are pastas, bread, I'm trying to think, white rice to an extent, those Ritz crackers, those are going to convert to sugar in your body. Now, if you are an extreme athlete, if you're running endurance races, there's going to be a good reason why you're going to want to eat a payday candy bar in the middle of a race, because you're going to get you need sugar. When you're out there working all day, water may alone not cut it because you have to replenish the salts in your body. There are other things other than Gatorade there are healthier organic versions of that you can mix with your water to replenish salts, electrolytes in your body. But some of the main staple items that you'd want to keep around are sweet potatoes, brown rice on the fat side of it. If you're a meat eater, and I am, although I'm fascinated by vegetarian and vegan diets, it's not a standard I have yet to aspire to, but I do admire those that do. Lean meats, fish with high in omegas. I like salmon a lot. Avocados, almonds. I keep a bag of a trail mix in my truck. You got to watch. You don't want to don't get the trail mix with the M&Ms. There are different trail mixes that have very low sodium. Some of them have huge, insane amounts of sodium and salt. That's, again, bad for your heart. So the more that you can make your own, so I can make my own with cranberries and these little yogurt pellet things that are good. If you want that sweet factor, almonds and nuts, walnuts. So these are the types of choices that you can make when you're eating. So let me leave you with this as my closing thought, and then I'll let Callie have the final say here. One of the decisions that was powerful for me that was when I knew that I had to eat better, two things happened. One, packing my lunch made all the difference in the world. Taking the time at home. Oh, and beans, by the way. I eat a lot of beans too, because that's a great source of protein. Packing my lunch made all the difference in the world. Starting my days with smoothies, and I just put stuff in the blender. I eat a little bit of fruit because I like it sweet, and then kale, spinach, ginger, flaxseed, chia seed, not oatmeal. Yes, sometimes I'll do it all at the same time. Throw a banana in there. There's so many different things that you can put in there. Cucumber, they're delicious. If you can drink one of those in the morning, pack a lunch. If you are without food, because what would happen is I'd get up at 5 a.m., I'd go to work full of energy, have a cup of coffee, get a little bit more energy, and please, dear God, don't buy those 5-hour energies and Monster energies. That's like liquid death. But I get so hungry by 10 or 11 or 12 that it was all I could do to pull into a gas station or a fast food restaurant and just inhale something. And then I was dead. I was ready for a nap. If I get to the point where I'm that hungry, go to a grocery store, walk into the grocery store. I've bought a whole chicken before and eaten 90% of it. And like the organic chickens that they have already cooked. I'll buy a banana, I'll buy a pack of strawberries sometimes, maybe a bag of almonds, a huge jug of water. That's an easy place to find good food when you need to. And so with that, I hope all of you make a step in a direction to first, get yourself checked out, find out where your starting point is, and take some steps to live a healthy life. So when you're done doing these strenuous, stressful jobs in your 50s or 60s, you have a long life ahead of you that is healthy, and you can be around for your kids and your grandkids. Callie, what are your closing thoughts?
For me, when I started my health journey, like you said before, the all-encompassing aspect of it was so overwhelming. So just taking baby steps and being prepared. So for me, I like to know what my go-tos are. Like if I'm so hungry that I just can't even function and I'm looking in the fridge, like if I know what my go-to is, like, okay, I have chicken and rice prepped, like I have it there. So just being prepared for those moments. And then if you're not at home, like Phil said, know if you have a grocery store nearby, this is my go-to at the grocery store. Or if you don't have a grocery store and you find yourself at McDonald's or Wendy's or the gas station, like these are the healthiest choices I can make at these places, so that you don't have to think, okay, I'm going to get like Quick Trip has bananas and stuff. Like I'm going to go to Quick Trip and I'm going to get a banana and a date bar. Like maybe it's not the healthiest thing on earth, but it's a whole heck of a lot better than the Snickers bar and a bottle of Coke. You know, like you just can automatically know where you're going to turn to in those moments.
Have you ever had the fried taquitos? The ones that are on the roller that are deep fried with like chicken, Monterey, beef, and my mouth's watering. Gosh, those are good. Don't eat those. Fried anything. Stay away from everything fried. But I truly don't deny myself something fried. Once in a while, having some onion rings is awesome. But it is very rare. And I promised you the last word. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to take the last word. That was great. Okay, well, that brings us to the end of, is this episode 102, I believe?
Yep.
Right. If you haven't listened, go back and listen to episode 100 because we gave a Steel Toe University shirt away. And I'm thinking probably 125 will be a nice milestone to give another shirt away. So stay tuned for each episode as it comes out and leave your comments and let us know what you think and let us know if you think we're wrong. We like to hear stuff like that. So challenge us. We're not always right. And with that, have a blessed day. Thank you.
Thank you.